My sister's always been jealous of my life. It's 'cause I'm married, I have a kid, and she just wants to have that too. So, she tries to ruin my marriage by telling my husband that, oh, our kid actually looks like my ex-boyfriend. Guys, and now my husband is demanding a paternity test, and I don't want to give it to him. My sister embarrassed me in front of my family and is trying to ruin my marriage. I just got home from a family event. My kids are in bed, my husband's upstairs in our room, and I've been down in the basement for about an hour, crying my eyes out. I need advice. For some backstory, I've been married to my husband Cole for 7 years. We have 2 lovely kids together, CJ, who's 5, and well, Emma, who just turned 2. My marriage for the most part has been wonderful. Cole is a very caring and super good father. We both work 9 to 5 government jobs, so we divide the housework and child duties evenly between us. We also try to do something together with the kids once per month and have a night for ourselves once per month where we get a babysitter. Our system has worked great, and I'm the happiest I've ever been. His family has been great and super supportive from the beginning, and my family has been mostly the same, save for my sister. Erin, I'm not sure what her problem was, but she seemed to take issues with Cole in my relationship from the beginning. I was in a relationship with someone else before Cole, which I'll touch on a bit later, and she did not have a problem then. When I introduced Cole to the family, Erin interrogated him like crazy about his job, his family, his upbringing. She even insinuated that he was a, pedo because he was 7 years older than me, which is hardly that big of a gap in my opinion. Our parents are 10 years apart and still very much in love with each other. It was rough, it was awkward. Even my parents were uncomfortable and she got mad when my dad told her to knock it off. Erin would see how he'd dote over me, asking me if I was okay when I got too quiet, and she'd call him a simp and say he was giving off serial killer vibes. She'd joke around, apparently, and say that if I've ever tried to leave him, he'd probably kill me if I ever tried to talk to another guy, or worse, leave him. The final straw was at Thanksgiving dinner one year. You see, we were sitting around the table chit-chatting, and I was already very nervous because it was Cole's first time meeting some of my extended family. I could tell her jokes were making Cole uncomfortable. So I blew up on her and told her if she did not stop with her stupid, insensitive jokes, I was going to air her out right then and there. After that, we went low contact. I was cordial with her at the family event for the sake of my parents. When Cole and I got engaged, I did not tell her directly and sent her an invitation to the wedding in the mail. At the wedding, she refused to sit with the family, sulking in the back the whole time, and she got so drunk at the reception that she had to be carried out. Because of this, I did not invite Erin to any of my baby showers. My parents did not like it, but I guess they understood, and around the time I was pregnant with Emma, my sister started dating a guy. And by the time Emma was born, they were getting married. Neither Cole nor I attended the ceremony because I had a bit of a rough delivery and was put on bed rest, which meant Cole had to take care of the house and our son. Apparently, my sister was super mad that I did not come and make a scene at my parents' house after the reception. She called me all sorts of names and said that she'd found time to come to my low-budget wedding. I had just gone through 36 hours of labor to push a screaming, wiggling little human from my, body. What do you want from me? Anyways, this is just the tip of the iceberg. She's done other crazy nonsense, but this was everything I could think of off the top of my head. I thought getting married would have mellowed her out, but my parents said she's just as childish as ever. The point is, my sister, she has issues. All of that leads me to today. Emma turned 2 this week, and my husband and I did not want to do anything too grand. Early birthdays are kinda weird because the kids aren't going to remember them anyways. We did not give CJ a party until his 5th birthday, and that's the route that we were going to take with Emma too. We decided to have a small dinner at my parents' house and invited Cole's parents and sister over. My mom and dad asked if I could invite Erin over just to make up for what happened with her wedding, and I begrudgingly agreed, but only if she promised to behave herself. Anyways, we arrived at my parents' house earlier just to make sure everything was in order. My mom took care of the half of the cooking. Cole and I took care of the other half, and his parents were bringing the desserts and the birthday cake. We called them on the way over and said everything was good to go. Everyone arrived perfectly on time. Except my sister. We stalled as much as we could and just stood around talking and having a bit of wine. But everybody was hungry, and the kids were starting to get fussy. My parents called her, and she said she was 5 minutes away, so we waited for 10, and she still had not arrived, and at that point the food was dying, so we started to eat. Erin did not get there until 20 minutes later, and when we were having entrees, she got so mad because we started without her. She asked who was going to serve her food, and Mom told her the food and plates are in the kitchen. She walked off in a huff, and it was super awkward for everybody at the table. By the way, she didn't say hi to me or her niece and nephew, did not wish Emma a happy birthday, or even bring a gift. And her husband just kind of stood around sulking like he didn't even want to be there. When they finally sat down, we were in the middle of conversation about the upcoming summer. My in-laws were going on a Mediterranean cruise and asked Cole and me if we wanted to join them since we had not been on a vacation since before Emma was born. My sister interjected and talked about how she and her husband were planning a huge trip to Japan, and we were going to see Tokyo and Okinawa, and how said husband was a huge gamer, so this was his dream destination, etc., and he loved anime. Everyone just kind of sat there while she went on and essentially killed the whole vibe at the table with her rambling. That was not the last time she's did it, by the way. Every time my parents or Cole's parents would ask us a question about work or the kids, she would interject with a story of her own that would go on until she realized nobody was engaging and she'd finally just shut up. So, my parents finally gave her the attention she wanted when Cole and I went into the kitchen to get dessert. He asked me what her deal was, and I told him to just ignore her. She loves attention, and when we come back with dessert and sat down, my in-laws were talking to Cole. They were asking him how he was doing in school, what's his favorite subject, and other standard stuff. My father-in-law remarked that he was smart, just like his father. My sister snorted out and said, "That's not even his kid. I think she meant for only her husband to hear it." But she has no sense of volume. So the whole table heard it, and I asked her what the hell her problem was. She rolled her eyes and said she was tired of us pretending to be some perfect family when I knew well and that CJ was my ex's kid, not Cole's. She said they had the same face and hair. Now, my ex and I split before Cole and I got together, but Cole and I were friends before that, and I never slept with both of them at the same time. And when CJ was conceived, Cole and I were married, and I had not seen nor heard from my ex in years. We parted way on a good note, but fell out of contact months after the breakup. My sister was just trying to argue that I was, still seeing him after Cole and I got married. Also, her dragging CJ into all this was way over the line. The only reason CJ looked remotely like my ex was because he had dark hair and dark eyes like Cole. I mean, I have a type. Go figure. I was about to fly over the table and throttle her, but Dad stopped me. He asked my sister to leave, and she did, but before she walked out, she told Cole that he should get a paternity test if he did not want to keep taking care of a kid that wasn't his. I could tell Cole's sister was so mad because Erin pulled this stunt in front of the children and they were visibly upset. My mom corralled everyone to the living room so we could cut the birthday cake. It was awkward for the adults, but the kids were in better spirits. The dinner ended not long after, and the ride home was extremely quiet. Cole would not even look at me, and the kids fell asleep in the car, so when we got home, I put them straight to bed, and I asked Cole if he wanted to talk about what happened. He just looked at me and said no, and started scrolling on his phone. He was distant and cold the whole night, and I came down to the basement to cry because I did not want the kids to hear me. I need advice. My sister has obviously planted doubts in Cole's head, and I don't know how to make things better. I feel like I'm doomed, either way. If I don't get the test, I'll forever have this nasty rumor looming over my head. If I do get it, it could be seen as admission of guilt. What should I do? Comment number 1 from original post. First of all, OP, your sister's a narcissist and you should stay as far away from her as possible. I understand being cordial for the sake of peace, but some people just deserve to be cut off completely for good because all they do is fill everyone's life with unnecessary drama. Your sister's definitely one of those people. Your parents need to stop enabling her behavior by insisting on having her around. But I guess they're old school and have that blood is thicker than water mentality. It's obvious she does not want you or your husband to be happy and is doing everything in her power to make you miserable. It's disheartening to see that your husband did not immediately take your side, though, which makes me wonder if he already had those doubts lingering in his mind. Also, you don't owe anybody anything, not your sister or your husband. I really feel for you, and I can't imagine the amount of stress that you're under right now. Hopefully, your oldest did not take what your sister said to heart. That kind of dysfunction is bad for the kids. Comment number 2. I don't know, OP, but the way you reacted did not seem like the way someone who's innocent would react. You should not have immediately gotten angry and tried to fight her when she tossed that accusation out. You should have just laughed it off and paid her nothing. Of course your husband's worried. He's thinking the kid you named after him isn't his. On top of that, you said you and your ex parted ways amicably and stayed in communication for months. So there's no bad blood between you two. So what's stopping you from going back to him? The best thing you can do for yourself and your marriage is just take the paternity test and set your husband's mind at ease. What's up, everybody? Mr. Reddito here. We just checked out 2 comments from the original post. There is multiple updates, guys. Please hit that subscribe button if you enjoy these videos. Only about 50% of people who watch the videos are subscribed to the channel. It really helps out and I appreciate it a lot. Let's jump into update number 1. So, it's been a few days since my post, and I wish I could say things have gotten better. I'll say, though, that there's at least one person on my side. I got a call from my sister-in-law the day after the party. She wanted to check up on me and CJ because she saw that what my sister said upset him. He's young, but he's not stupid. I did talk to him the next morning and told him his aunt was just saying those things to be mean and get a reaction out of me. While he could not understand why she did it, he understood that some people are just mean. I told Cole's sister-in-law that what Erin said may have gotten to him. Up to that point, he still has not spoken to me. She said that she'd try to talk some sense into him, and CJ was obviously his kid, and he knows my relationship. That was not enough for Cole, though. And when he did get to talk, it was a disaster. He came from work right after for me and said he wants to speak. So I let the kids have a little TV time, iPad time, so they could distract if things get heated. My relationship with my sister is terrible, so of course she'd tell us such a nasty lie to make me look bad. Right off the bat, he'd ask me why my sister would say that if she did not know something. I was, saying that it's because my sister is a childish idiot, and she was mad the dinner was not all about her. Then he asked me when the last time I spoke to my ex was. I cannot remember, but it was definitely long before we even got engaged. I've switched phones twice since then, so I was not even sure if I had this number anymore. I barely use Facebook, and when I did not see him posting, and he never messaged me. He asked if we could just, get the test. I said for what and for who, and why were we letting other people's opinions affect our marriage? We both knew Cole was his kid, and we should not be giving my sister and whoever she shared her baseless rumors with the time of day. Guys, he absolutely blew up on me. Imagine how he felt saying all this stuff, and my sister probably spread the rumor all over town just to make him look bad. All he wanted to do was put his mind at ease. Well, I don't know what to do, and I would not even give him that. He said if I cared about him and our family, I'd just get the test. I told him I was done talking about this and went upstairs. I slept in our spare room that night because I could not deal with him. I don't know why he was letting my sister get to him. Like, this is exactly what she wants. For us to be fighting and absolutely miserable, and I just feel like this entire situation is out of control. Update number 2. So, I decided to just go ahead and do the paternity test, not because Cole asked and not because of what my sister said. I took the test because I just wanted this drama to be behind us. This is stressing me out way more than it should be, and I just want to be back to enjoying my life and my family again. But before I get into it, my sister-in-law contacted me again. Apparently, while me and Cole were upstairs fighting, she called the house and CJ answered and told, her that we were upstairs fighting. I explained that things got heated and Cole yelled at me about getting the paternity test, and I think the whole thing was taking a toll on his mental health. He's also been stressed about work lately, so I told her we were just going to get the test over with. She didn't agree. But she did understand why I chose to do it. She said she was going to kill Cole when it came positive, though. So, the next day, we take lunch a bit early and pull CJ out of school to take him to the clinic. We told him it was just for a quick checkup and got McDonald's to smooth things over. The clinic said that we would still get the results or they could email them to us when they're ready. We chose the later option because we were already running late and had to get CJ back to school. As soon as I got to my desk, I got an alert from the clinic. Shocker, it's his kid. I sent them over to my sister and brother-in-law, and she said that she and her parents were going to have a talk with Cole this evening. That made me feel so much better. After work, I talked to my parents about what happened, and they told me that they were definitely considering not having Erin around as much after this. She just causes so much unnecessary drama at every, corner. Speaking of her, I sent her the test results after I got off the phone, along with a lengthy message that amounted to, if you've ever have anything to say or about family again, I'll end you. I grabbed the kids from school and went home, and Cole was not there, so I just started cleaning up a bit. I got a call from him, and he said he was bringing dinner home. I got the kids washed up and took down some plates and stuff, and when he got home, he had a dinner from our favorite place in Flowers, and we sat down for dinner, and for the first time, it felt like things were back to normal. Cole was playing with the kids, and the food was incredible. After dinner, while we were washing up, he apologized profusely for how he acted, and he said he never should have doubted me. Also, his parents and sister absolutely laid into him. His sister told him that she said, to get a divorce. She didn't, but I think she said that to scare him. I also saw some people suggest that in the comments. I'm not divorcing him. In our 6 years of being married, this is the first big fight we've ever had. It's usually petty stuff, like what we're going to watch on TV. And I'm happy that we can just put this behind us. Update number 3. Hey guys, so yeah, it's been many months since I've posted, and here I am again. I bet you all thought this story was over, but no, there's been a couple of interesting developments. My sister had a baby 2 weeks ago. Right after she pulled that stunt at Emma's birthday dinner, she found out that she was 2 months pregnant. The reason I found out is because she was having a welcome home party of sorts for the kids at my parents' house. She also guilt-tripped them into hosting her, even though they didn't want to. They hosted both of my baby showers, so, quote, it was only fair. I was invited and I went, but more on that later. After the whole paternity debacle, I started doing some snooping because I wasn't lying when I told my sister I'd ruin her if she pulled some crap like that again. Anyways, my sister is a frequent user of the Book of Faces. She used it faithfully since she made her account back when she was in middle school. Now, what a lot of people don't know is that my sister has 2 Facebook accounts. The one she made in middle school was abandoned, and she made a second one in college. So, about a year ago, she started using the middle school account again. I'm not sure if she knows,
but I'm friends with her on both.
Or she does know and she thinks I've abandoned my account. It doesn't matter. I know that nonsense that she's been up to on that account, and she's in a women's group that's public, and she posts all the time about how her husband is annoying and does not fulfill her sexually. Whenever somebody talks about how they're unhappy in their marriage, she just tells them to just cheat, and I quote, "because men are stupid and they won't find out." I cataloged all this, including comments where she said that she'd been seeing another guy behind her husband's back since even before they got married. That entire group is full of miserable people who are not happy in their marriage but don't want to leave because they glorify being wives. Anyways, I came armed with all this to the party just in case my sister said something out of the way. And of course, she did. She could not help herself, I guess. My mom commented on how cute the baby was, and Erin said, "Yeah, it's leagues cuter than those crotch goblins." And she looked at my kids. She didn't think I heard because I was feeding Emma some watermelon, and I immediately passed her off to Cole and just told him to take the kids to the other side of the yard. It's about to get dirty. As soon as they were out of earshot, I asked Erin who the father was.
She just looked at me kind of funny
and laughed and said she was not, well,
easy like me. Well, I just replied, "So, what's this?"
And I pulled up the Facebook account on my phone.
The panic in her eyes, it was golden.
I told her not to speak about my family again, and I sent all the evidence I found to the family group and told everybody to check their phones. What's worse, her in-laws were there. I left the party right after. I didn't see the aftermath, but one of our cousins told me it did not last much longer, and Erin and her husband left separately, him long before her. That's where we're at now. I'm sure I'll have more details for you guys on the fallout in a few days. Update number 4. Alright, it's time for the aftermath. So much has happened over the last few weeks that I need to sit down when I heard it all. All of this is secondhand information I got from my mom and cousins because, of course, my sister is not talking to me. First off, after the party, Erin's husband left with his parents and went to stay with them. Erin apparently went back to her apartment and was trying to call him all night, on top of taking care of the kid, and when he finally came back a few days later, they got into a fight because he demanded a paternity test. Apparently, he even invoked my name and said something like,
"Oh, your sister got one, why can't you?"
She was backed into a corner the same way she backed me into one, and her husband said that he would go back to his parents' place and would not come back until she took the test. So, she begrudgingly took it, and the kid, well, it's not his. As soon as he got the results, he kicks my sister and the kid out of his apartment. She's staying with one of the guys that she's fooling around with now. I guess he's the dad. I didn't ask. My parents told me she originally wanted to stay with him, but after talking to her, they found out that she was still fooling around with other guys. Even when she was pregnant and even now that their kid is here. They don't want that kind of energy around them, and I don't blame them. And Erin's not willing to change. They said the last time they talked to her, she and her lover were looking for a new place to stay, and she was looking for a new job. So,
a lot of our family members have cut her off.
And after looking into what I sent to the group, one of our cousins looked deeper into her alt profile and found out that she used to gossip about a lot of us in her wife group. Everyone knew my sister was immature and had an ex to grind, but all of this was way too far. She used people's real names and talked about where they worked when she spread gossip to strangers. She was ruining people's reputation. She also threatened to knock me out at sight if she ever ran into me again because I, quote, ruined her life. It's not like she tried to do the exact same thing to me. The difference between me and her is that I'm a faithful wife, and I warned her not to speak of my family again, did I not? While she's out there, even more miserable than ever, I'm here enjoying my life without a shred of regret. Cole and I are planning a family vacation next year, and I'm just working through some courses that'll get me in line for a promotion at work. Fingers crossed, I get it. Cole wants to look into renovating our basement to make it more of a family room, but that's a plan for way down the line, possibly when Emma's in school. Top comments. Comment number 1. Wow, yikes, your sister was projecting so hard. Oh my gosh. I feel bad for her husband. It's obvious she only married him because she wanted to be married. I have a sneaking suspicion she's been jealous of your happiness this whole time. She wanted a husband because you had one and were happy, and she wanted kids because you had them and were happy. I don't blame you for calling her on her nonsense. Heck, I probably would have done worse after being accused of cheating on my hubby and having a son that wasn't his. I just really feel bad for the kid. Some people just aren't meant to be wives and mothers. Also, I'm so happy your husband came around and apologized. I was worried about him maybe taking your sister's side. Your in-laws are awesome for getting him together like that. There's so many garbage in-laws on here, it's refreshing to see some are actually normal. Comment 2 and final comment of the video. OP, you're the bad guy. Let's be real. You ruined an entire family over some petty beef that happened months ago. You talk about your sister being childish when you're no better. This is your sister's kid, your niece or nephew. You denied them a good home and family because you just had to get your little revenge, and over what? A silly comment at a dinner? Just say that you didn't want your sister to be happy and would have done everything in your power to make sure she wasn't. You could have just moved on and declined the invitation to the baby shower. I mean, why were you even there? You were fishing for a reason to ruin her instead of just being the big person. The fact that you did not regret it at all or even feel bad for the baby involved says a lot about you. I feel bad for your kids if this is an example that you're setting. Yikes. This has to be some of the best karma that we've seen on the channel in quite some time. I mean, OP's sister was absolutely ridiculous, trying to ruin the marriage, trying to manipulate the family against OP, and little did she know, the exact thing that she tried to do to OP was going to do to her later, but be successful at it, by making her prove that, well, that baby is not belonging to your significant other, and she got her. She was right because her sister is a dirty, cheater, narcissistic jerk. But guys, I do want to hear your opinions on this one because it was a wild one. My name's Mr. Reddito. I narrate stories like this every single day. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. I'll catch you into tomorrow's story. But just remember, it's cool to be kind. See ya!